This is Anne. There is no pain quite like watching someone you love walk willingly into a cage. You can see the bars forming around them. You can hear the lock clicking into place, but when you cry out a warning, they smile and tell you it's a beautiful gate. They don't see the danger. All they see is the hand that offered to lead them, and they call that hand love. I knew from the moment I met him. A mother knows. It's not a superstition or overprotectiveness. It's a cellular knowing, a vibration in the soul that says, this one is not safe. But my daughter, my bright, beautiful Lily, saw only what he presented to her. Strength, devotion, a promise of being cherished. She believed he was her savior. And in choosing that belief, she was forced to choose him over me. I warned her gently, then firmly, then desperately. And with each warning, I hammered another nail into the coffin of our relationship. He became the misunderstood hero, and I became the villain, the jealous, controlling mother who couldn't let her daughter go. She defended him at every turn, even when it meant breaking my heart, even when it meant disappearing from my life, until the night the phone rang. And the voice on the other end wasn't the defiant woman who had told me to stop trying to ruin her happiness. It was a terrified girl, my little girl, whispering into the darkness. Mom? I need help. That call was both the answer to every prayer I'd whispered for months, and the confirmation of every fear I'd tried to voice. Getting her out was the easy part. The hard part was everything that came after. Because love rushes in to forgive, but trust has to be rebuilt from the ashes. Brick by painful brick. My Lily. She was sunlight personified. Not naive but hopeful. An artist, a freelance illustrator with a laugh that could disarm a crowded room. After her father passed when she was 15, it was just the two of us. We became a tight unit. More than mother and daughter, we were confidants, allies. We had our traditions. Friday night movies with too much popcorn, Sunday morning farmers markets, planning ambitious trips we'd save for all year. I loved watching her become her own person. But a part of me always feared her generous heart. She saw the best in everyone, sometimes putting rose-colored glasses over glaring red flags. She met Mark at an art gallery opening. He was 10 years older, a financial strategist. Handsome in a severe way, sharp jawline, perfectly tailored suits, an intensity in his eyes that Lily mistook for passion. He pursued her with a frightening focus. Lavish dinners, spontaneous weekend trips, constant grand gestures. It was a whirlwind. To a young woman who'd grown up without a father figure, this older, successful man offering the world felt like a fairy tale. I met him 2 months in. We had our usual Friday night, but now there was a third. He was impeccably polite, charming, even, but it was a performative charm. His eyes didn't smile when his mouth did. He listened to Lily's stories about her work with a patronizing tilt of his head. That's cute, sweetheart, he'd say about a complex illustration project. He'd then steer the conversation to his latest deal, his investments, the real world. The first warning bell was subtle. Lily, who always ordered what she truly wanted, looked at Mark before ordering the salmon. Is that okay? You said we should watch our carbs this week. A tiny moment. I filed it away. The second was louder. He jokingly criticized her outfit, a flowing, bohemian dress she loved. You look like you're going to a music festival, not a nice restaurant. Don't you have something more sophisticated? She'd laughed it off, but the next time we met, her style was noticeably more restrained, more his. The engagement came after only 6 months. The ring was huge, cold, ostentatious. It didn't look like my Lily. It looked like a brand. This is when the isolation began in earnest. It's textbook, I learned later. So subtle you can't point to any one thing and call it abuse. It's death by 1,000 paper cuts. The social isolation. First, it was our Friday nights. Mark has clients in town. were networking with his colleagues. Then it was her own friends. He'd pick flaws. Jenna is so dramatic. She'll just stress you out. Mike is clearly in love with you. It's disrespectful to our marriage for you to see him. One by one, her connections outside of him frayed and snapped the financial control. Lily's freelance income was unpredictable. Mark insisted she close her separate account and join his. It's what married people do. We're a team. But the team had a CEO, him. She had to ask for money for groceries, for art supplies. Her requests were met with interrogations. Do you really need that $90 set of pencils? Can't you make do? The geographic isolation. He convinced her to sell her charming light-filled studio apartment, her sanctuary, and move into his stark, modern condo across the city. It was far from her community, her favorite spots from me. It was his territory. Every time I saw her, she was a little dimmer, a little more folded in on herself. The vibrant colors of her personality were fading to grays and beiges. I moved from gentle to firm. Lily, I'm worried. You're giving up everything that makes you you. Your independence, your friends, your space. This isn't a partnership, it's a takeover. She got angry, defensive. You just don't want me to be happy. You're jealous that I have a man who takes care of me. You're used to being the only one I need. And you can't handle that it's him now. Her words were arrows, each one hitting its mark. The worst part? There was a sliver of truth in them. I was used to being her primary person. But my fear wasn't born of jealousy. It was born of recognition. I was watching her disappear. The wedding was a lavish, cold affair. My role was minimized. Mark's family and colleagues were the centerpiece. Lily looked like a beautiful mannequin in a gown Mark's mother had chosen. She didn't throw her bouquet. She placed it neatly on a table. After the wedding, the wall became impenetrable. Phone calls went unanswered for days. My invitations were always declined. When I did see her, Mark was always there, a silent sentinel, his hand on the small of her back, guiding her answers. The final, desperate confrontation happened at a department store. I'd bumped into them by chance. Lily was trying on a coat. It was a vibrant emerald green. She looked alive in it for the first time in months. You look stunning, Lily, I said. She smiled, a real smile, touching the fabric. Mark spoke without looking up from his phone. It's garish. And impractical. The black one is more classic. Her smile vanished. You're right. The black one. I lost it. Right there in the store. For God's sake, Lily, if you like the green one, get the green one. It's your money too. And stay out of our marriage, Mark said, his voice low and icy. Mom, please, Lily whispered, mortified. No. I won't watch him erase you. He's controlling everything. Your money, your friends, your clothes. Can't you see it? Lily's face hardened. The daughter I knew retreated, and a stranger looked out through her eyes. What I see is a mother who can't let go, who criticizes the man I love, because he gives me a life you never could. Just stop. If you can't be happy for us, then maybe you shouldn't be in our lives at all. She took off the green coat, handed it to the clerk, and walked out with Mark, not looking back. That was it. For 8 months I was exiled. I sent texts that went unread. I left voicemails that were never returned. I mailed letters that were likely thrown away unopened. I was a ghost in my own daughter's life. The pain was a physical, constant ache. I was in therapy. I was in a support group for mothers of estranged children. I was barely holding on. All I could do was hope that the cage would eventually feel too small, and she would remember there was a key, or that the man showing his true colors would finally do something so blatant. Even her love-blinded eyes could see it. The phone rang at 2:17 in the morning. The sound ripped through the silence of my house and my heart. I knew, even before I saw her name on the screen. I fumbled for it. Lily? What I heard wasn't my daughter's voice. It was a thin, fractured whisper, choked with tears and something else. Pure, unadulterated fear. Mom. Ahajid Sobi. I'm at the gas station on Elm. I don't have my purse. I just have my phone. Breathe, baby. Just breathe. Are you safe right now? I think so. I ran. He threw my laptop against the wall. My portfolio, all my work. He said it was a waste of time. I said I was leaving to cool off and he grabbed my arm. He's never done that before. He left a mark. I just ran. The dam broke. Sobs racked her voice. I'm so scared. And I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, Mom. Every instinct in my body was screaming. The mama bear was awake, roaring, listen to me. You are brave. You are strong. You did the right thing by running. Do not go back. Do you hear me? Stay in the well-lit part of the station. I am leaving right now. I will be there in 12 minutes. Do not hang up. Stay on the phone with me. I threw on shoes, grabbed my purse and a jacket. I talked to her the whole drive, a steady stream of nonsense and reassurance. I'm turning onto Maine. It's so quiet out. Remember that time we drove to the beach at dawn? We'll do that again. I'm 5 minutes away. Just keep looking at the lights, honey. I'm coming. When I pulled into the gas station, I saw her, huddled by a vending machine, wearing only a thin sweater in the cold. She looked so small, so young. Our eyes met through the windshield, and the shame and relief on her face shattered. I got out, ran to her, and wrapped her in the jacket I'd brought, then wrapped her in my arms. She collapsed into me weeping. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Sure. No more sorry. You're safe. I've got you. I've always got you. The next 72 hours were a blur of quiet, determined action. There was no I told you so. There was only what needed to be due. We did not go to my house first. We went straight to a 24-hour clinic to document the bruise on her arm. The nurse was kind, her eyes full of a knowing sorrow. She took pictures and filed a report. We went to my house, which I'd already asked a neighbor to check was empty and safe. I put her in my bed, made her tea, and sat with her until the shock subsided and she slept. The next morning, with a lawyer on speakerphone, we made a plan. 1. Police escort. We went with a police officer to the condo to retrieve her essential belongings. Her passport, birth certificate, a few pieces of sentimental art, her remaining sketchbooks. Mark was there, seething. Seeing him switch from cold rage to a performative, concerned husband voice for the officer. She's emotionally unstable, officer, she's running from her problems. Was chilling. Lily didn't say a word, just held my hand, her head held him. 2. Financial firewall. The lawyer helped us immediately file for separation and a restraining order. We froze joint accounts and began the process of untangling their finances. Lily had to face the humiliating truth. She had no credit of her own anymore. We opened a new account in her name. 1. 3. Digital safety. We changed all her passwords, enabled two-factor authentication, checked her phone for tracking apps. The technological leash was CZZZ. Through it all, Lily moved like a ghost. The guilt was a heavier burden than her small suitcase. After everything I said to you, how can you even look at me? She'd ask, tears streaming silence. My answer was always the same. You are my daughter. My love is not a loan that requires good behavior. It's a constant. It doesn't turn on. But inside I was grieving. Grieving for the years she'd lost, for the trust that was broken, for the bright young woman who now jumped at slamming doors. The physical escape was complete in days. The emotional and psychological escape would take years. Lily was a shell. The controlling marriage had been a prison, but it had also provided a warped sense of structure and identity. Without it, she was adrift, terrified of her own shadow, and drowning in shame. She had panic attacks. She blamed herself. He said I was bad with money, and look, I am. He said I was too trusting, and I was. He said my art wasn't a real career. And maybe it's not. This was the hardest part. Not fighting the monster, but healing the wounds he left on her soul. I had to watch her relearn how to be a perfect. Rebuilding trust step 1. I had to get out of the way. As much as I wanted to wrap her in bubble wrap and make all her decisions, that would have just been replacing one controller with another. I had to let her make small choices and sometimes fail. I'd ask, do you want pasta or stir-fry for dinner? If she said she didn't care, I'd gently insist, I do care. What do you want? It was agonizingly so. Rebuilding trust step 2. No secrets, no pressure. We attended therapy together. A wonderful woman who specialized in trauma and familial reconciliation. In that safe room, Lily finally let out the full truth. The constant criticism, the monitoring, the isolation, the escalating anger she'd hidden. She also expressed her guilt for hurting me. I got to say, when you cut me out, I felt like I was grieving a living person. It was the loneliest I have ever been. It was brutal, honest, and necessary. Rebuilding trust step 3. Reconnecting her to herself. One day, I brought home a simple sketchbook and a set of those $90 pencils she'd once been denied. I left them on the coffee table. For weeks, they sat untouched. Then one morning, I found a single, delicate drawing of the morning light through the kitchen window. It was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. She was starting to come back. The divorce was finalized. Mark fought it, of course dragging it out, using process as punishment. But Lily was stronger now. She had her own lawyer, her own bank account, and a flicker of her old fire. She settled for nothing, just to be fun. It has been 3 years. Lily lives in her own apartment now, not far from me. It's filled with color and plants and her own art. She's rebuilding her illustration career, and this time, it's on her terms. She sees a therapist weekly. She has slowly, carefully, reconnected with old friends who welcomed her back with open arms and no judgment. Our relationship is different. It is deeper, more honest, but it carries scars. The scar for her is the shame and the hypervigilance. She still sometimes second-guesses her decisions, afraid of making a wrong choice. The scar for me is the memory of that exile. There's a part of my heart that is now fortified. I love her endlessly. But I know now that even the deepest love cannot always protect the ones we love from their own choice. One evening recently, we were having our Friday night movie, back to our tradition. A scene came on where a mother and daughter argued. Lily paused the morning. "Mom," she said, her voice soft. "When I was in it, why did you keep trying? Even when I was so horrible to you, why didn't you just give up on?" I took her hand. Because when someone is in a fog, you don't abandon them on the road. You keep a light on in the window. You might not be able to guide them out, but you make sure they know the way home when they finally decide to look for it. My job was never to drag you out. It was to make sure you always had a home to come back. She cried then, not the terrified tears of the gas station, but deep, cleansing tears of understand. If you are watching this, and you see someone you love walking into a fog with the wrong person, my heart breaks for you. It is a special kind of helplessness. You can warn them. Gently, firmly, desperately. But you cannot force them to see. Love can be blinding. And manipulators are experts at painting themselves as the victim, the savior, the only one who truly understand. If you are the one in the fog, hearing this from the other side, please know this. Love should not feel like a slow disappearance. Love should not ask you to give up your voice, your friends, your dreams, or your family. Control is not care. Jealousy is not devotion. Isolation is not protection. If you are watching this, and you see someone you love walking into a fog with the wrong person, my heart breaks for you. It is a special kind of helplessness. You can warn them. Gently, firmly, desperately. But you cannot force them to see. Love can be blinding, and manipulators are experts at painting themselves as the victim, the savior, the only one who truly understand. If you are the one in the fog hearing this from the other side, please know this. Love should not feel like a slow disappearance. Love should not ask you to give up your voice, your friends, your dreams, or your family. Control is not care. Jealousy is not devotion. Isolation is not protection. If you have gotten out, or are trying to, the person who truly loves you will be there when you're ready. They may have boundaries to protect their own heart. They may be hurt. But if their love is real, they will help you rebuild. Not with "I told you so," but with "I am here." And if you are the one holding the light in the window waiting, protect your own peace. Set your boundaries. You cannot set yourself on fire to keep them warm while they're in his house. But never, ever put out the light. That light, your unwavering, unconditional love, might be the only landmark they have to steer by in the darkest part of the story. My daughter chose her husband over me. And when he showed her who he really was, it nearly broke her. But it did not break us. We are rebuilding, step by painful, beautiful step. Not to what we were before, but to something stronger. Something forged in fire and forgiveness. Something right. If you or someone you know is experiencing domestic abuse, you are not alone. Help is available. If you want to hear more story like this, please like the video and subscribe the channel. Hit the bell icon to get notified.